Hello, this is Shelby Shadwell. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Sarah, you can hear me? Great. Dana looks like is also on the call at this point.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Thanks. We'll get started here shortly. There's three of us now, and we'll wait and see who else is going to jump on. Looks like we had about 20 signed up, so we'll see how many folks join us here as we get close to 8 o'clock. And so thank you all for joining. This is Shelby Shadwell, by the way, the treasurer for the group. Usually Ken does leads these calls, but I'm kind of doing it myself today, and we are going to have our state field organizers join us, Jen Lawrence and Shayna Alexander. Jen, looks like you jumped on the call. If you want to say hi or anything, feel free.
Thanks, Shelby. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Thanks for joining us. And again, we got a couple other folks joining us on the call now, so we'll keep waiting to see how many folks can join us. And just as a heads up for the etiquette of the call, and you folks that are on a little early, you'll hear me say this a couple of times, more times than you probably want. I tend to keep everybody muted for the most part here at the beginning of our calls. And but anytime you have a question or concern, you can just press a number on your dial pad, and that'll raise your hand, and we can see your hand is raised, and we can address your question or concern at any time. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. So again, just waiting for some folks to join. We have a kind of a tentative agenda. I don't know how long the call will take. It won't be more than 45 minutes to an hour. So just wanted to let you know that as we're waiting for folks to join up here. We've got a few things to discuss, interesting things, and we also really just wanted to check in with folks and see how folks are doing, and if we can answer any questions or concerns, meet any of your needs to help you in your counties for sure. So I see Shayna has jumped on. I'll just unmute Shayna. So if, Shayna, you want to say hi to everybody?
Hey, everyone. This is Shayna.
Thanks, Shayna. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Again, as we have more folks jump on here, we do keep everybody muted at the beginning of the call, but if you do have any questions or concerns, you can press the number on your dial pad. And Lynn just joined us. I've unmuted Lynn. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Lynn. So it's kind of Lynn and myself and Shayna and Jen on the call that are kind of checking in with everybody here. And so again, as you join the call, we keep everybody muted at the beginning, but if you have a question or concern, you can press 1 on your dial pad and we'll address that. It does appear that real quick before we get started in earnest here, it's about 7:01. Chris Corfantes raised your hand. Do you have a question or concern or want to say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. I put it against my shoulder and accidentally pushed, so sorry.
You know what, Chris? I did the exact same thing at about the same time. So, okay, I think we'll kind of get started here. Again, everybody's muted at the beginning, but if you do have a question or concern, just press a number on your dial pad, and we'll get you. We'll address your question or concern. Again, it's just me and Shayna and Lynn and Jen, and I'm kind of moderating the entirety of this call this evening for you folks. Ken Chestek, our chair, is out of the state, and he's doing, as a law professor, he's doing some work on a textbook or something along those lines. So he is not able to join us this evening. But I'm here, and our statewide field organizers are here, and Lynn, part of the committee of applicants, is here as well, so co-chair. So that being said, I did send out a tentative agenda for everyone, which I'll kind of follow, and not necessarily in any kind of particular order. But since we do have the first thing on there, in the reminder email I sent out today, we do have a copy of fairly current numbers, statewide numbers. It's not as current as the one Shayna sent to me today, but it looks like officially things that have been added into the database that we have confirmed. We have about 12,649 signatures at this point. Now, we do think that we have a lot more that haven't been entered into the database to be confirmed, but that's kind of where we stand. So we're on our ways to meeting our goal, but again, as Ken mentions in these calls every time, and as everybody is starting to feel the heat, we definitely need to keep ramping things up. For our part here in Albany County, we were out at Freedom Has a Birthday, collecting signatures and doing that thing here recently. So there's a lot of events in the state, and folks, identify events and grab your petitions and get out there and see if you can't get more signatures. And if you do get in situations where you go to events and you're getting a lot of the same folks, that's a great time to ask our field organizers, either Jen or Shayna, involved in your particular county. They're divided by the state, to get some walk lists and knock on some doors. So that being said, I did want to unmute Jen and Shayna, just if they have anything to report in on as far as comments, questions, concerns, observations. So Jen and Shayna, you are both unmuted, so feel free to, if you have anything to report in about, feel free.
This is Jen. Just to share that we have identified some additional names of folks who have registered interest in volunteering. So those will all be going out to county team leaders, some more people, some more bodies to join our efforts. So those are, I'm sure, if Shayna hasn't completed hers, they'll be going out soon, as mine are in the process of going out to each of our assigned counties. That's what I have for now.
That's great.
Hey,
Shayna? Yeah.
Hey, this
Go
is
ahead,
Shayna. So just wanted to report in that, yes, if you, say if you know of a couple of days or weekends or evenings where you know that there aren't any events happening, we're definitely available to cut turf in Laramie County, or, to go knock doors and talk to voters. And it's actually the most accurate way to know that you're actually talking to a voter, because we have the data to prove that they're registered. So we've been doing that in Laramie County on Saturdays and Sundays, and we've also been calling folks who, we need to grow our volunteer team significantly. So folks that have signed the petition, we've actually been calling them and telling them, like, hey, you've signed the petition. We really need your help, though, to make sure that we win in October, that we can actually get on the ballot. So in order to, grow out our teams, because, yes, folks are signing up through email on our website and through Facebook, but having that very direct one-on-one conversation and, hey, really reaching out to folks that, we need your help. You are the difference between us winning and losing. Really gets folks motivated and actually want to be part of the team. So if you want to start calling folks in your county, if you want to start talking to voters directly at their doors, please reach out to us. We're finding that to be super successful. And if you need anything from scripts to training on, say, all of a sudden you have 9 to 10 people showing up they want to canvass or they want to go to an event, we have some really handy resources on how to have those conversations and how to make sure that everyone knows exactly what our message is when they're going out. So, and that's, I think one of the other things that we've had this past week is questions from data wranglers about, hey, our numbers are not what I thought it was going to be. Can you tell me why? Or I thought it was supposed to be X number, but you're telling me it's significantly higher or lower based on the total count. So just keeping in mind that when you're entering data, your county number count only accounts for the number of signatures or registered voters that are in your county. So if you are in Albany County, but you had a bunch of folks from Laramie County sign onto your petition, that goes to Laramie County's count. It doesn't go to Albany County's count. So just keeping that in mind. And then also other data wranglers are doing the same thing. Like if someone's entering data in Teton County, but it's a bunch of folks from Sweetwater County that actually signed onto that petition, that goes towards Sweetwater's count. So that's just, so even if you're being very diligent, jotting down how many signatures you've entered in, it doesn't necessarily reflect the total count for each county. I just wanted to put that out there.
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point, Shayna. Yeah, sometimes folks from other counties might be in your county, and yeah, their signature will go towards the actual county that they live in, where they're registered. So yeah, that's a good point to bring up. That is not immediately intuitive. So thanks for that, Shayna, especially. I'm going to go ahead and leave Jen and Shayna unmuted as we kind of move forward. I did have and what I'd like to do for the bulk of the call is just check in with everybody and see where you're at, say hello. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but as people join, everybody is muted initially. And if you do have a question or concern or want to say something, just press a number on your dial pad, just like Margie Farias has done. And I'm going to go ahead and unmute Margie up there in Lander and to address this question or concern, and then we'll keep moving forward from there. So Margie, you're unmuted.
Hi, Shelby and everybody else. I'm wondering about this number that you gave us for the state, 12,649. Is that what you said?
That is what I said, and that's approximate. That's what I got from Shayna today. Yes.
Okay. Is that valid signatures or just total signatures?
No, I believe that's valid signatures. Shayna, do you want to chime in on that? Shayna or Jen, are you there? Do you want to chime in on that? I believe those are valid signatures.
This is Jen. Those are valid.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have about 60 or 70 that I haven't even turned in yet. So we'll have some more in a couple days.
Yeah.
From Fremont anyway.
Yeah, from Fremont there. And you guys are doing great work, and you can see the breakdowns in that spreadsheet of things. And again, we do believe we have a lot more numbers that just haven't been entered yet. And we've seen them growing more significantly recently, but we want to keep on it and make sure we get that data entered so we know where we're at. So thank you for that, for sure. Let me see here. Okay, so a couple of notes before we check in with folks here that are on the call. I did want to say that we are looking for some volunteers to help staff Wyoming Promise Table at the State Fair in Douglas. We think that would be a great event to be at, to gather signatures. I know that Jen, our field organizer, has been looking into that, securing the table and everything. Jen, do you have anything on that, or anything you would want anybody who's at the State Fair to do if they want to volunteer to be at that table?
Thanks, Shelby. It's Jen. Yes, please.
Yes.
Anyone is interested in serving some time for us during that period of time, which is August 15th through the 18th. We would then please email me at jennifer.lorenz, LOHRENZ, @gmail.com, or phone me, text me at 307-578-7152. We would like to have that booth manned as many hours of the day as we possibly can for all 4 of the days of fair. We do have a couple of folks that have already indicated interest in helping us out. We do need a few more bodies, though. So if anybody does have some time and they can get down to Douglas, please let us know.
Yeah, that's great, and I'll put that in the recap email about this to get in touch with you about that, because I think that'd be a really great event. You know, sometimes Frontier Days in Cheyenne is a little bit it's a little more sketchy because there's a lot of folks from out of the state and that can't really sign the petition, even though they may love to sign. One thing we noticed there here in Albany County on the 4th of July was there were a lot of folks from out of state that really wanted to sign the petition. Of course they can't, but, you just say, hey, can you throw us a couple bucks to help us keep our field organizers and keep getting materials and things like that as we move forward. We're still on a shoestring budget. As we mentioned a couple weeks ago, we did raise close to $5,000 though from going to the conference in DC from folks around the country. So even if folks are not in the state, if they want to pitch in $28 for a 28th Amendment, that helps tremendously. So when you encounter folks that are from out of state, they can still help with the effort in that way. So yes, if you're interested, I will have that in the recap email to contact Jen, and let's get as many folks as we can to be at the state fair, at least for a little while, and gather some signatures there. So thanks, Jen, for organizing that for sure. That kind of also leads into Ken wanted me to mention fundraising, because that is important, and again, we're on a shoestring budget. And if also, I would say, if there are any volunteers out there, county team leaders or anybody that want to host a house party that can act as partially an educational house party, partially a fundraiser, in order to keep some donations coming in so that we can keep this effort going, that would be fantastic. What you would basically do is you make some food or have a potluck, invite folks over, just talk to them about the issue, and say, hey, let's have some. If we can get some donations, that's really going to help this effort, especially if they've already signed and they still want to help the effort but don't have time necessarily to be a full volunteer. I thought maybe Lynn would be hosting one of those. We might get her take on that here soon, if possible. But that can be great ways of continuing the effort, gathering signatures, having an educational push on the issue, and moving forward in that way. So, Christy Garrett, I'm going to unmute you because you have your hand up. Feel free to chime on in. Christy, are you there? I do not hear Christy Garrett at this point, so that could have been another accidental button. But if Christy, if your phone might be muted, if you want to unmute it, if you had something to say. Well, in any case, again, just press a number on your dial pad if you want to jump in and get a question in.
Can you hear me?
Oh, hold on. I think that might have. Christy, is that you?
Yeah. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
I put you on speakerphone and now it works.
Okay.
I was just. We are planning to have a booth at our at our county fair, and I was just wondering what Jen was planning to do as far as, drawing people in. If she had any thoughts on tactics for that.
This is
Jen. Yeah.
Yes. I'm speaking from 5 years' experience of running the Park County Fair here in Powell, and from that, during the Your Fair week, there's typically a lot of buzz on the radio and in newsprint to attract people to the fairgrounds. It's already there. I'm going to assume that for some of the more larger counties, it's going to be similar to the same situation where they're already going to be folks from the local radio station doing live remotes, which that's an opportunity to, tap on their shoulder and say, hey, I would be happy to speak on the radio. Even to preempt that by letting the radio station know that you're going to be there so that they can come to the booth and do a little remote for you. That will certainly attract folks to your booth space. Additionally, whether or not you can dredge up the funds and look at perhaps print advertising. Here locally, we have an insert in the local paper that is specific to fair, which allows for advertising and other articles to be printed. That's another opportunity. Our folks here utilize that because it prints the schedule of the fair and whatnot. So there's a lot of reader use for that type of publication. Additionally, depending on how many actual man hours you've got, how many folks can be there at one time. Up here, you have to stay within the confines of your space. That's typically the case in most fairs. But walking around the fairgrounds with your pin or your T-shirt on, engaging in conversation, folks say, hey, what are you doing here? Well, I'm here gathering signatures. Our space is right over here. You can come over and check us out. So you can certainly then gather more interest and knowledge that you're on the fairgrounds by intermingling with the folks that are there without taking your petition in hand.
Christy, does that help at all?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes. Thank you. That does help a lot and gives me some ideas. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Christy, for that. For sure. We, and good suggestions when you're at events. I'm kind of an introvert. It's hard for me to talk to folks, and I still get uncomfortable doing it. But I'll tell you, it's pretty amazing. I think at this last event, the main thing we started conversations with were, people walking by, hey, have you signed our petition yet to get money out of politics? And, that really creates just that one sentence, can start a conversation. And we found, and we continue to find at events, at least this was my experience, 8 and 9 out of 10 people want to sign. The national statistics of about 90% of the American populace think that this is money in politics is corrupting. That holds, and with signers here in Wyoming on both sides of the political spectrum, all sides. So that's a great way to start a conversation. I usually go into, talking about basically what we're doing, a couple sentences about that, and I just ask people, hey, do you think those folks in Washington are working for their donors or for the voters? And that's pretty much a person then, when they think about that for a nanosecond, is ready to sign. So, you can get into longer conversations, and there are folks that are opposed to, this or that, but for the most part, you can get signatures with talking to folks pretty much that way, and it's a good way to go about it. So, yeah, so from that question, again, we're going to check in from folks that are on the call, and we'll eventually here just go down the list. But I did want to bring up a couple of other things. We just mentioned if anybody wants to volunteer and have a house party of any kind to help with fundraising, education, petition signing, let us know if you need resources for that. In fact, anybody who does need resources, get in touch with Jen or Shayna, or especially me, because I've got a lot of materials still. We still have brochures, we have buttons, I have petitions. We're doing an order of T-shirts, and we should have T-shirts in the next week. So if you need any more materials, you can, probably the easiest thing to do is to contact me directly, or email info@wyomingpromise.org, or me directly at shelby.shadwell@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you as soon as possible when it comes to, when I get that communication. So as we move forward here, this brings us to one other item I wanted to let folks know about. So I got into this whole effort there's many groups working to get money out of politics. A lot of different ones, and that care deeply about this issue. Of course, American Promise is one at the national level. We started Wyoming Promise here. I actually got into this issue through a group called Wolfpack, wolf-pack.com. And basically, we were able to, we were doing some consulting with them at the very beginning of this effort. We kind of went our separate ways a little bit so we could get really established here in Wyoming as Wyoming Promise. But in D.C., when we went to the conference, Ken and Lynn and Rod and myself, we reconnected with them. And Mike Moneta, who's the director of Wolfpack, and I've reached out subsequently to Angela Denise and Joan Londy, folks that are working on Wolfpack at the regional level, kind of keeping in touch with folks. And basically, we explained where we were at in the effort. Ken and I went on a show with internet show with Cenk Uygur called Rebel Headquarters to talk about what Wyoming Promise is doing that goes to a nationwide audience. And then Ken was on the panel with Cenk Uygur talking about the Article 5 convention route, which Wolfpack is very much interested in. That's their main crux, is to push for basically our ballot initiative, but through the state legislatures. They haven't been doing any ballot initiative work. But they're very much in line with what we're doing. They're very much supportive of what we're doing. So we're reaching back out to them to see if we can get folks that are volunteers for Wolfpack in neighboring states. There's a very active volunteer base in Montana and Colorado and even Nebraska. And we're seeing right now what it would look like to have volunteers from Wolfpack come in and circulate petitions for us on days of action. Maybe stay overnight and do really targeted campaigns in counties where we can use some signatures. So what we want folks to be thinking about, all of you on the call, is what that might look like for your county. You know, if your county's doesn't have as many signatures, or you want to get a lot more and you've got an event, or you want to do some canvassing on a specific day or a specific time, what we'd like you to do is really kind of think about when that might be, dates-wise, if it was a couple of dates, maybe on a weekend or something, where, if you have the ability to maybe have some volunteers stay overnight at your house so we can cut down on costs that way. Think about what that might look like in your county. And we're going to follow up with you on the next conference call about this. We'll of course talk about it again in the recap email, but we'd like to be able to follow up with especially county team leaders on what that might look like if we're able to get volunteers from out of state to come in and really help us out, because they want to help us out. And of course, to circulate petitions, you don't need to be a registered voter in the state of Wyoming. You just need to be a U.S. citizen, 18 years of age or older. And we're starting to think we're pretty confident we can get their help with this. And this is what this was our ask for them. And I think we're going to be able to make it happen. But we kind of need to know from you folks what that might look like in your county and what you might be able to do and what your needs are and things like that. So that'll be an item that we'll follow up with you on, and this would probably be, in August, late August, or early September, kind of a thing. But we've got their support. In fact, they are having a national conference just for Wolfpack in mid-August. I think it's August 11th, and I'm going to send out a link to this in the recap email. But it's a conference that they're doing in Salt Lake City, and I'm going, or Ken is going for sure. I may have a conflict in terms of the dates and times, but there's going to be some really great folks at that conference. Larry Lessig, who has joined us for one of our Wyoming Promise statewide conference calls, is going to be there, and other folks too. And they're going to talk about a lot of ways of engaging representatives on this issue. Because we're an all of the above approach. Of course, we want to get on the ballot, and that's our main goal. But we're also going to be talking to our representatives. They will, one way or another, have a chance to take this up in the next legislative session. And so we want to make sure that, they know enough about what we're doing. Of course, we have the supporter page on our website, candidate survey that you can send out to your representatives from our website. And the more supporters we have, the more we kind of know, what we can do in the legislature. Because the thing is, if we get enough signatures, whether we do or not, the legislature can take this up in the next session, and they can say, oh my goodness, well, you got all your signatures. Let's just do this. Let's just pass this as our legislative body, and then we don't have to work for 2 years getting out the vote. So that, I would prefer that if we can make that happen as well. So and that's the strategy Wolfpack's really involved with. The other thing we could say is, oh, well, you didn't get as many signatures as you need, but we can still take this up and vote on it in the legislature. So we want to be engaged with our legislatures as well, and our representatives and where they stand. So if you can send out that candidate survey, that would be great. And again, we're really trying to work on these targeted days of action for Wolfpack volunteers to come into the state. So be thinking about what that might look like in your county, for sure. So I think that's going to basically move us on to just checking in with folks that are on the call, and just even if what your role is, what you're doing, what's going on in your county, ask any questions, and we'll kind of just go down the line here. Again, if anybody does have a question, you can press a number on your dial pad, and we'll address that for sure. So I'm going to go down the line here, and we will I'll kind of unmute people as we go and say your name and introduce yourself, what county you're in, and what you're doing. It's always good, I think, to let folks on all over the state. We have folks from all over the state here. Just let each other know who you are, what you're doing, because we're all working hard, and it's a roller coaster. So we have good days and bad days. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute Sarah Salsey here. If you want to check in and tell us where you're at and what's going on.
Sure. So I'm Sarah Salsey. I'm the co-team leader in Albany County. Last week, as Shelby touched on, we had a really successful period of collecting signatures at the Freedom Has a Birthday event here in Laramie. I would say we probably collected at least 200 signatures, and I think probably more than that after talking to various folks. We're having some challenges, is like all organizations, they ebb and flow, and so we're having a hard time just getting volunteers to step up and help in some way. So we're working on that. The other co-chair, Sandra Volker, she has some skills and experience that I lack, and so I think with her help and with some direction, I think we'll get some more volunteers working at maybe canvassing one of the areas that has not seen as much attention as perhaps other parts of other neighborhoods in town have seen. But I think we're making good progress.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sarah, for sure. Yeah, thank you very much for that and checking in. Yeah, it's I'm new to this. I started in on this with the ballot initiative, and it's been a learning curve for me too. And so yeah, and there are ebbs and flows, and people encounter those kinds of challenges for sure. So, but keep it up, keep the faith. There's folks that may have fallen out of the effort, but there's other folks that might want to jump in as we move forward. So, excellent, thanks. And next on the list here, again, you can press a number on your dial pad if you want to chime in on anything, especially as it comes to responding to folks. I did want to say, if you weren't on our call 2 weeks ago, we were at that conference in DC, and everybody on this call received a National Citizen Leadership Award from American Promise. So I think they at the national level, they're looking at what we're doing, and I know it seems hard from our perspective, but they are pretty amazed at what we're doing here. So I did want to reiterate that. Next on the list here, I just have Linda. Linda, you are unmuted if you would like to check in.
Are you talking about Linda Payne?
I'm guessing so, since I can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm a data wrangler for Park County, and I work with Jen, and I think that we're just rolling along really well.
Okay. That's great. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that. And again, data management, I'm one of those people, if I was in this effort and I wasn't at the state level, I'd be like, let me do data wrangling, because it's something that I would personally probably be better with. Next up here on the list is Tom Burke. Tom, you're unmuted.
Hi, thanks. This is Tom and Mary Frances Burke, and we're in Casper, Natrona County. And we've been a part of the County Promise. It's been, there haven't been any meetings for some time, and we had a conversation with Ken here a couple of weeks ago, and he just asked us to come up with some ideas. And so one of the ideas we came up with was to just invite as many people as we could to a meeting. We have a meeting scheduled on July 19th, and we're both medical doctors. We invited a number of people out of our practice, and the ones that has shown a lot of enthusiasm for signing the petitions. And then we also are precinct committee people for the Democratic Party, and so for all of the Democrats in our precinct, we sent out a mailing. So that came to over 250 names. We don't know how many people are going to show up, but we're just thinking let's just start a grassroots effort. See, Ken's going to come up to the meeting and he'll give a kind of an overview speech, and then we'll see if we can't get people to volunteer and also come up with some ideas. So that's kind of where we are. Mary Frances and I have collected about 500 signatures out of our practice, and so that's actually been a fairly good part of the Natrona County effort. But I think if we can get some people on the street and do some door-to-door and that kind of thing, I think we can improve quite a bit. So that's kind of where we are. I hadn't thought about asking people for fundraising, and I think that makes a lot of sense. When people who do come to the meeting, to see if we can't do some fundraising too. So I know there are some people who are interested that may come that have said, I hate door-to-door and I won't do that. And I've just said, come anyway. There's other things that people can do. And primarily what we're going to do is ask people to bring, 5 friends to the next time we meet and just see if we can't build it from there. And we have a big enough space that we could hold 50 or 60 people easily. So if we get that kind of a response, then that'll be great. That's kind of where we're starting from.
Awesome, Tom. That is amazing work. Thank you so much for doing that. And I did get a few emails that ran by me that said that's what you folks were going to do. So again, reiterating what I said earlier, if you need buttons or brochures or things like that, Ken can bring those up. But if you need things in advance, petitions, anything, clipboards for the petitions, please just feel free to keep in touch with me. And we can keep moving forward with that. So thank you very much, Tom. Keep us up to date on how things are going, because we've needed some help in Natrona for a while. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I can just tell you right now, we probably need about 10 petition packs and clipboards. And I think if we have those trifolds with Alan Simpson on them, those seem to be really popular. And, I think any of the other paraphernalia that Ken might think would be important. But I think those are probably the most essential ones.
Okay, Tom, I'm going to go ahead and get that to you tomorrow. So I'll send some petitions and clipboards and a few other things. Ken can bring up anything else that I don't get to send, just so you got it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Again, a lot of this is to check in to see how we can support you here from the state level. So these are great conversations. John Belinder, I have you unmuted. Would you like to check in?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm just interested in everything that's going on and just wanted to really listen in and see, in what ways possibly I might be able to help. And that's where I am.
Okay, that's great. Well, I tell you what county are you in, John?
I'm in Natrona County.
Okay.
And the one thing that I did, hear you say that I thought I might be able to help with is if somebody is needing a place to stay, I could perhaps help with that.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's a great starting point for things. I'm going to go ahead. I've unmuted Tom again. Tom, do you know John, or do you guys know each other? And can we put you in touch with each other? If you're both in Natrona?
I don't know you, John. This meeting that I was talking about is going to be July 19th. And it's at 7 p.m., and it's at the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Union Hall, which is just behind the gas station there at the corner of Poplar and Wyoming Boulevard. And Poplar and the Interstate, I-25. And so if you wanted to come, we would love to have you. We're just... And we're looking for people who might consider all sorts of things.
Okay.
The address on that, John, is 691 English Drive.
691 English. Okay. Well, I'll try to be there.
Oh, that would be great. And if you have some friends that might be interested, anybody that you know that would be interested in this effort, go ahead and bring them.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Well, that's awesome. Tom, do you have, for John, is there a good way to get in touch with you, an email or a phone, just so John might be able, if he has any follow-up questions there, that you might be able to provide?
I can give you both.
Okay.
The email would be Tom MF, so TOMMF Burke at gmail.com.
And can you spell that out once for us, Tom?
Yes. T is in Tom, O is in Oliver, M is in Michael, M is in Michael, F is in Francis, Burke, B is in boy, U as in under, N as in never, B-U-R-K-E. So I got lost there. So B-U-R-K-E. Tom M.F. Burke at Gmail.
At Gmail.
Okay, I'm not sure I have TOMMFBUN.
No, B-U-R. B-U-R.
K-E.
K-E.
Yes. Okay, got it. B-U-R-K-E. Okay,
yeah,
I got it now.
At Gmail. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Well, this is great. This is a great reason for doing calls like this, so that we can make those connections and keep moving forward. Before we keep going down the list, Margie Farias has her hand up, so I'm going to get to Margie here. And Margie, you're unmuted, and feel free to go ahead and check in with things going on in Fremont as well.
Okay, thanks, Shelby. When John said he wanted to help, my question was, where are you? But you cleared that up. I'll take any help I can get. But anyway, here in Fremont County, I'm thinking that we're about at 2,000 valid signatures right now, approximately. So we're about 2/3 of the way to our goal. By the way, I received your package yesterday. Thank you, Shelby. Have in mind one circulator who I think might do a house party, so I just need to look into that. 2 days ago, I sat out in front of the library in Riverton because I was killing some time, and in about an hour and 15 minutes, I got 12 signatures. So that's a really productive, easy place to contact people, and nobody ran me off because it's, county property, and it worked really well. The heat was tough, but outside of that, it worked great, and I'm directed a couple of my circulators to do that whenever they can. There are people that can't do the walking for canvassing, but they can sit out in front of the library. So I hope that's a good idea for like Natrona County, where you probably have more than one library. Let's see. I watched the entire video on the Article 5 with Ken, and it was great. I have a question about Common Cause. Are they opposed to Wyoming Promise because of our position?
That's a great question, Margie. They're opposed to any kind of convention. So in that sense, they would be opposed to that portion of our ballot initiative. They have used their lobbyists to knock this down in Hawaii through the legislature, Wolfpack resolutions in Hawaii, New Mexico, just now Massachusetts, Maryland, and I think Connecticut. We would have 5 more states on the board if it wasn't for Common Cause. And they're not going after, as far as I can tell, they're not going after people that are, for instance, a balanced budget convention call, which is way closer. They don't use their lobbyists for that. They use their lobbyists for this. And, it's unfortunate. There are disagreements in how to get this done, at the national level. Some people are opposed to a convention. We, at Wyoming Promise, we don't act out of fear. We lead with courage. And the thing is, with the changes in the Supreme Court coming, I think the only thing you're going to see is more Supreme Court decisions that open the floodgates even more to more money. And that's scarier to me than what might happen in a convention, which I don't think would run away. I'm fairly convinced at this point. And the thing is, I'm more concerned with our government just running away on all this corporate money the way it is. So that's the fear that I'm concerned with, and that's what we're fighting against, and that's why we lead with courage. So I hope that's if you do encounter folks that are wary of an Article 5 convention call, we've got resources to be able to discuss that with folks. And if you watch that debate online with Ken and Cenk Uygur, it's a pretty good one, and I think they came out pretty far ahead as far as that goes. So,
well, I think so too.
yeah. So thank you again, Margie. I'm very aware of everybody's time, and we're getting close to we're at about 45 minutes here, so I want to keep us moving down the line. But again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to press a number on your dial pad. We'll get to you. But we have Dana Ferguson on the call. Feel free to check in.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm here in Sweetwater County, and I like Margie's idea of the library. I think that that idea might get me going here. I had quite a few signatures last year. I just haven't got moving this year on mine. It's just but we've got some community events coming up that I plan on being at. So I got to get busy on my petition.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, need help there in Sweetwater for sure. And Jen and Shayna are on the call here, our field organizers, and they might be able to check other folks in the county. Do you know of other folks working there in Sweetwater County, or do you have peers there? Do you have a group?
Yeah, we have a group. And we have had one house party. I guess at my house, it was last fall, early last fall, and I'd be up for doing that again. I can get out in my neighborhood and go door to door, and that isn't too hard, especially when I know the people in the neighborhood. But I just need to get going here, and
definitely keep in touch with us if you need materials, if you need anything. Jen and or Shayna, depending on which area they're involved with, can get in touch with you and reach out and keep things moving along. So thank you for being on the call.
Sweetwater County is where I'm at.
Sweetwater. Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to Phyllis Roseberry. You are unmuted. Feel free to check in.
Okay, here I am. Can
awesome.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Washakie County, and I'm in Washakie County. But I have 2 petitions done. I'm working on a third. And mainly I've gone to events like Farmers Market and No Woodstock Music Festival, although they would not allow me to have a table, but I just kind of walked around and talked to people. And Culture Fest we have here. And then Jen was kind enough to make me a canvassing list. So I've done a bit of that. So I'm working on the third petition. But I was just thinking about is Jennifer Miller on this call?
Jennifer Miller, I do not see on this call.
Okay, she's from in Grable, Bighorn County. So, we county, like Hot Springs, I think they only have a petition down there at the health food store. I was thinking if we did like a Bighorn Basin effort, like I don't know how Park is doing, but at least Hot Springs, Washakie, and Bighorn, maybe we could do 3 counties and get some volunteers in, because we're kind of thin, I think, on volunteers.
Yeah, I went ahead and unmuted Jen Lorenz to chime in.
Thanks, Shelby. This is Jen. Hey, Phyllis, thanks so much for everything you're doing. Howie's got one, a petition at the Thermopolis print shop. So he is actually a candidate. So between the health food store and the print shop in Hot Springs, we at least have some locations. They're not actively canvassing such as you are. But let's talk about what we can do over the course of the next few weeks that we can organize something for the Bighorn Basin.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Maybe a concerted effort in those counties.
I think it's a great idea.
Great. Yeah.
Okay,
thank you. Go ahead.
I'll just keep trucking on canvassing.
Okay. Yeah. Phyllis, feel free to keep in touch with us on that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Phyllis. Appreciate it. I'll go ahead and keep Jen unmuted in case Jen at any time, or Shayna is unmuted as well, if you want to jump in on any of these. Sorry I had you muted there for a little while. But it looks like Laura Ann Jolly is on the call. Laura, you are unmuted. Feel free to check in. Laura, are you there? Laura Ann Jolly. Hello? We may have a bit of a connection problem. Laura Ann, if you can hear me and you just want to raise your hand if when you're ready to talk, we can do that way. We're going to skip ahead real quick to Melody Nielsen in Laramie County. Melody, tell us what's going on.
Hello. Yes, I've been sort of busy. Shayna has had a canvassing in her neighborhood, and so there was 4 of us that went out and canvassed from her house. We're going to do that. They're going to do that again on Saturday, but I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be in Laramie Friday and Saturday for my 50th reunion. So I was hoping to see you, Shelby.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're definitely gonna make that happen. So, and congratulations, 50. That's a 50, milestone there. So,
yeah.
I've got you, Melody. I've got you on my calendar as being stopping by either Friday or Saturday. Just so you know, Saturday for me would work a little bit better because I'm finishing up teaching for the summer on Friday, and it goes till about 5:30. But I can still make it happen Friday evening. But you let me know what works for you, and we'll make it happen. Anything else going on there, Melody?
Besides that, there's going to be more canvassing from Shayna's house on Saturday. There's just things that just keep coming and going and happening. And, of course, Cheyenne Frontier Days will be coming up. And that's not exactly the best time to petition because most of the people from Cheyenne leave, and from every other county or country come in.
That's right.
But of course, we can always get them from other counties. But it's just going to be with the other states that's difficult. So it's going to be very busy, and I think everybody's going to be out there at different events. Doing that, whatever they're doing, they're going to have that opportunity to get signatures. So for Cheyenne Frontier Days, nothing's planned, but there's a lot of things set up. Especially, we're working on the parade route. As I understand, one of our petitioners owns a barbershop, and that is on the parade route. Perhaps he'll allow us a table, or even so that people can walk around. That will be like a site to meet at, and that's possible going to happen next week. So
excellent. Well, thank you, Melody, so much, and thanks for all your work there with Wyoming Progressives and getting those town halls and candidates together to talk about how important this issue is.
And
you've done
that's
tremendous work with that.
That's one thing that is continuing, is that I keep meeting new candidates. And the new people that are running, they even come to my house. And I met Hunter, and he seems to be one that's very much behind Wyoming Promise. So, it's good to meet that many of these people are supporting this.
Really quick, Melody, because I also wanted to bring this up by the end of the call. But Hunter, is he Republican, Democrat? What's he running for?
He's congressional. He's running for the Congress. Let's see which one. I believe that he's Democrat, and he's from Laramie.
Okay.
He's from Laramie, and he's running for, I believe, Jenny. But I'm just guessing.
Sure. And feel free to send them the candidate survey, get that filled out, see if we can get as many folks as possible on the supporters page.
Right.
One thing we'd like to do in one of these upcoming conference calls before any of the primaries is get a couple more candidates. We did have Rod Miller and Gary Trauner on to talk about this issue. I thought it was a great discussion, a great showing of cross-partisan leadership. And so hopefully we can do that again here coming up. So that's another reason to talk with these representatives and candidates. We'd like to have, somebody from both sides. We're not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. We are cross-partisan. Again, 90% of the country agrees with this, and that's not a partisan issue. That's why we think we can get it done. So we will keep moving forward as far as that goes. Christy Garrett, you're unmuted. Do you want to check in?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We did set up a booth by the 4th of July hot dog feed. We got some signatures, a lot of looks. I've been on vacation basically and out of pocket for 2 months. So Diane Ernst and I are really hitting it hard now. I went to the Senior Center Forum on Tuesday and got actually Senator Wasserberger's signature. And I talked to Senator Barlow, or I'm never sure which.
Senator Barlow.
Representative Barlow. They both are very much behind our efforts. Barlow actually indicated he might be interested in co-sponsoring a bill depending on the leadership he gets.
Yep.
Or leadership positions he gets. Do you want me to continue on this vein or not?
Yes, please. One thing I will say is Barlow's been on my eye for a long time. I've met Barlow, and that was one person I was definitely going to say we should contact about this. And if we can get either of those folks to, if you want to email them the candidate survey from our webpage, that would be great. That's going to build momentum for that. So keep talking if you want.
Okay. Well, he said he's got 2 other bills that'll take quite a bit of time for him, to push through. But he would be willing to co-sponsor if somebody else was willing to sponsor a legislative deal act. Do you have anybody who might work with them?
Yes, we're looking at actual sponsors now. We think we could have a ton of co-sponsors. It's just finding the right sponsor for this, and so I think we're going to do that. I'm making a note of it now, and I'm guessing Jen and Shayna and Lynn are as well, because we need to definitely have that name down and because we'd like to have as many co-sponsors as possible, and I think we'll be able to find an actual sponsor for this without much trouble, especially Dan Furphy or I think it's Mike Ear, who are Republicans on the corporations committees in the House and the Senate, and they wanted to hear this in the interim session this summer. Didn't get enough votes to get on the interim session, but we're fairly confident that one of them will sponsor this. They're both Republicans. So thank you, Christy, for doing that legwork, and we're making notes of that right now. If you don't mind sending our candidate survey to them to see if they'll fill it out, you just email it to them and with a quick note, and I know that they get a ton of emails, but the more information we can get on that, the better. So
okay.
Thank you.
You do, so I haven't done that yet. Do I send a note and then have a link? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you can basically just go to our website, go to supporters, the Become a Supporter tab is there, or candidate survey link is there. You just click on that, copy and paste that link into an email to those folks. And if you the best thing you could do is follow up with a phone call and just say, hey, I sent you this survey and you mentioned you support this. Please consider filling this out.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. I'll follow up with that. Signature-wise, still slow. I would be willing to house the wolf pack in my house.
Okay.
And, we're fairly close to Montana.
Yeah.
But, and we do have a table at the county fair, and I will definitely follow up with what Jen said about getting our name in some of that advertising. So.
Okay.
Well,
outstanding.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Christy, very much. That's very helpful information. We're just about through with everybody. I know we're reaching an hour, and I know your time is valuable. And we'll get through the last few folks here, but I did want to mention this call is recorded, and this will go out in the recap email. And feel free to forward this call to anybody you know or anybody on your team that wasn't able to make the call. And we can do things that way. I'm going to go ahead and unmute Lynn Horton Morrison here. Do you want to check in, Lynn?
Yeah, hi. Glad to hear everybody's doing such good work. My efforts have slowed down somewhat just because the summer has been busier than I intended with the farm. However, that being said, I've been playing a little bit of phone tag with Senator Simpson about hosting a house party, so I don't have anything new to report. We're supposed to talk this week. I am going to be going into Jackson Hole on Friday, so if anybody has any contacts that they think I should meet in person to get more of an effort there, happy to do that. We did have the press release from the meeting with Senators Barrasso and Enzi, as well as Representative Cheney, that appeared in the Powell Tribune, so that was a really good thing. Jennifer's working hard with regards to the Powell County Fair. I will be back around the 23rd. Jennifer, what are the dates of that county fair?
July 24th through the 28th.
Yeah, so I'll be back in time for that. So I'll be participating in that and also participating in the state county fair in Converse County. I'm interested to hear from the two physicians from Natrona County to see if they had given any thought to the county medical society there and bringing this up as something important, as an important issue for physicians. I work in Niobrara County. I live in Clark County. I'm a physician. I would be happy to work on something with those two physicians, presenting this to the medical society there. I think that would be a good thing to do to gain some awareness. And I'm sure there's probably a large number of physicians in Natrona County. So that's all I have to say right now. Thank
Sure
you.
thing. And Tom, Mr. Tom Burke, you are unmuted if you wanted to reply to that.
Hi, thanks. Actually, that is a great idea. We had thought about seeing if we could talk at one of the meetings before the hospital medical staff, but the medical society actually has some physicians that aren't on the hospital staff. So actually, I think both places would work well. We have found that getting signatures in our office has been incredibly productive. And usually, as you'd mentioned, Shelby, it's usually just one or two quick lines usually grab people's attention. So one of the things I had thought about doing was talking with several other physicians and seeing if they'd be willing to get them in their office. I did have a lawyer in my practice say that I could come down and go through their office. There's quite a few staff members there, and so that was something that I was planning to do. There's just, I think a lot of ideas where, if you can get someone either in a shop or a store or an office that's collecting the signatures, boy, you can really pile them up pretty fast. So, and I do agree with you that I think most medical people are in favor of this. I'm not sure about our medical society, how it would go over, but I think it's certainly worth a place of presenting. So I think that's, and the other thing I would really hope to do in that presentation would be not only to get a lot of signatures that night, but then hopefully get some people who'd be willing to obtain signatures in practice. Just a quick aside, one of the other hook lines that we used and that often brings it up is people complain about the cost of medicines. And we just talk about all the lobbying that goes on from the pharmaceutical companies and the effect that they have on Congress. The insurance companies kind of the same way. And so, we just say, these are two really big players in our national government, and, they have huge bankrolls, and this is a way of bringing the voice of the people back. And it's been pretty well received. Here, Mary Frances wanted to say something.
I also quote the amount of money that the senators worked on that bill to repeal the Affordable Care Act, or the amounts of money they were paid by the health insurance industry. And that usually hits people right between the eyes.
Mm-hmm. So these are good hook lines that have worked in the office, but obviously we try not to make it a long conversation, but most of the time people are very willing to sign. So it is a good place to I think, to get signatures.
So I just want to comment, Tom, a couple of things. One is one of the things we found up in Park County is, we've had a natural food store that, had the petition. But the problem with the Secretary of State is that, when you go to get it notarized, part of the notarizing piece of that is that you've got to swear that you were the one that, obtained all those 100 signatures. And so if you've got several people, that are working at the counter, then you can't really do that, or you have to give everybody their own petition, and then they put their petition at the counter. But, in an office practice, it's great because, if you have the receptionist is doing, you've got the same receptionist there Monday through Friday, then that takes care of that. But that's something to think about. And one of the things I just want to put out there is it would be great actually to get together with the two of you as I'm heading, home from Niobrara County.
Okay.
It would be great to, get together, have some coffee or lunch or something like that as your schedules allow, so that we can maybe do some brainstorming. Thank you.
Sure. Let me give you my my cell phone number. It's 307.
Hang on just a second. Wait a minute. Wait. Hey, Jennifer? Is Jennifer still there?
Jennifer's unmuted.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here, Liz.
Okay. Actually, I was going to say, Jennifer, if you can write it down. I'm in the middle of making pasta, but Tom, go ahead with it. I'm sorry. 307 what?
All right.
259
right.
5392. So 259 5392.
Got it.
And you can text me, and we'd love to have coffee with you, and brainstorming sounds great. So.
All right. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you both. We're going to move on to the last couple of folks to check in because, again, time's valuable. So Chris Corfanta on our steering committee now. Feel free to check in.
Hi. It's exciting to hear what everybody's doing, and I'm really impressed by Phyllis doing it on so many signatures on her own. I'll try to keep it short and not repeat what other people are doing. Something that we've been pretty good about lately is we've had a letter to the editor every Saturday for about 5 Saturdays now. And I did send copies of those to Jen if people need samples of letters to the editors that they, that would be helpful. So we've got our presence in the paper. Another thing that has helped some people is wearing a sandwich board. And one lady is very shy and she doesn't like going door to door, but she'll sit in the park and by the ice cream stand. We have an ice cream stand there. And she just asked for a sandwich board. I just delivered to her that says, shy, nice person wanting to get dark money, or not dark money. I forget the wording. Just finished it anyway. Conversation and discussion upon request. So she's just going to sit there with her sandwich board and by the ice cream stand and gather signatures that way. She did have something similar at Music in the Park, and because she's not one to go out and grab people, but it's interesting. People will kind of gravitate to her, so that's one way. Somebody who's shy can do it. And then had other sandwich boards where we walk around farmers markets, etc., and it makes it a little festive. We have money, play money hanging off some of it. And then we've done a couple canvases where people who don't like to gather signatures, but they like to go walk, they will put out flyers ahead of time in an area. And then about a week later, and it has phone numbers that people can contact if they wish, but telling about the issue, and that will be coming by. And that has been pretty successful because those people who have read the flyer are ready to sign when we get there. So those are just a few things that we've been doing.
Chris, those are both brilliant ideas. And yeah, if you're going to go canvas, don't put anything in the mailbox. That's not legal. But if you want to leave a flyer, at the door or near the door, just saying, hey, we're coming by. I think that's a really good strategy. So, and the sandwich board, hey, nice person, welcoming discussion upon request, get money out of politics. That's brilliant. I think that's wonderful. So a couple more folks here, and then we'll let you go for the evening. I think we've had a really good discussion checking in with everybody. So thank you all again for being on the call. I just want to we've got Kathy Denman and then Mike Lammers. So Kathy, you are unmuted.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
We sure can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feel free to check in.
Here. Yeah, not much happening here. It seems like at Flaming Gorge Days, I got 6 signatures, 1 duplicate. We're just running the same circle, so we're just going to have to knock on doors and go to different places.
Okay. Yeah,
we will be blowing up Park County this weekend, so maybe we'll get some there.
Great, outstanding. Okay, well that's good. Just keep it up. We greatly appreciate it. You folks have been with us since the first day, I feel like, so thank you so much. Okay, and then Mike Lammers, you're unmuted. Feel free to check in.
Yes, I've enjoyed being in on this session tonight. This is my first time on it. Of course, I'm here in Cheyenne, Laramie County, and I've been involved almost 4 weeks, I guess, now with Wyoming Promise. Been out doing some canvassing. Shana, of course, there as well. I'll be doing more of that coming up. And also working on the petitioning as well. Need to get more of that. I think Melody already alluded that we do have quite a few activities coming up here in Cheyenne over the next few weeks, and looking forward to being with those as well. So enjoyed being with you tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Really appreciate all your work there, and keep it up. Keep checking in. Just a quick note to go back through what we've kind of discussed. We've checked in with folks. Again, be thinking about, especially if you're a county team leader, how you might organize some folks from out of state that are passionate about this issue coming in and gathering signatures, helping your county gather signatures. If you want to volunteer for the State Fair in Douglas, keep in touch with us. House parties, keep on top of those things. Also, I mentioned we're going to try to have a couple candidates again here before the primaries on our next conference call in about 2 weeks. But I'm also looking to get Ben Cohen from Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, who's very passionate about this issue, and we met him in D.C. On a conference call. So he's got a great thing going with a stamp stampede, basically putting stamps on bills that say get money out of politics and things like that. And I'm pretty sure he would be really interested in coming and talking to us all. So then you can say, hey, I talked to Ben Cohen from Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream. So that might be something that's coming up down the pipeline. So I just want to, if there are any final questions or concerns, you can press a dial number on your dial pad. But if not, I just want to say thanks to everybody. Keep up the fight. We're going strong. We're going to get this done one way or the other. And we know how hard you all work, and you got National Citizens Leadership Award, and you all deserve it, and it's your award. So keep up the fight. Keep in touch with us if you need anything. Look for the recap email and share this recording with folks that may not have been able to be on the call. And with that being said, thank you all, and keep going. And we'll keep going too. So thanks. I'm going to jump off now, and you can feel free to do the same. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.